Okay, welcome, my dear friends. Today's our eminent resource person, Dr.O.Padmaja Madam Garu, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Tara Government College Autonomous, Sangareddy. Madam is clearly explained about the plant physiology. Yesterday, Madam has clearly explained about the plant-water relationships, especially osmosis, rotation, and some of the important areas Madam is going to explain the continuation. So, my dear friends, listen carefully during the class. If you have any doubts or any queries, interact with our respected resource person. Madam is going to clarify your doubts, and she is going to deliver an excellent lecture for your better future. Okay. We would like to invite Dr. Padmaja Madam Garu. Please welcome Madam.
Thank
Share
you.
your screen and start your session.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Audible.
thank you, sir. Good evening, students. I'm Dr. Padmaja, Assistant Professor of Botany, Thara Degree College, Sangareddy. A warm welcome to all the students and thanks to Tirupati sir for organizing this coaching program for the Telangana students. And today I'm going to start a very important topic that is photosynthesis. So in every standard, from the basic to the higher level, or in order to do a research work, photosynthesis is a very, very interesting topic, and it is the only process that will be seen in the plants. And now, so that for example, in order to get in a B.Ed entrance also, they will be asking some questions related to this also. So before entering into our photosynthesis topics, we must know that some terminology related to which are can prepare their own food materials, which are depend on other for their food materials. You see, in total world, only the plants can prepare their own food materials. That means they will live and makes a life sustainable. But we, the human beings, are depending on others, but we are also damaging the environment also. So here, autotrophs means all the plants in total plant kingdom. If you see from the primitive level to the higher level, that means from algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, all the plants will from a unicellular to multicellular. If you take a chlorella, or if you take a chlamydomonas, or if you take a idogonium, any plants from the micro plants to the macro plants, they are preparing their own food materials. So they are all come under autotrophs. So they will take the inorganic substances and they prepare their own food materials. That here we are seeing the diagram here. The plant and the rabbit we are seeing there. These plants are preparing their own food materials without disturbing the nature. It is taking the sunlight or the carbon dioxide and the nutrients and water and the oxygen that are releasing from the human beings or the animals. Without disturbing, it is preparing the food materials, and at the same time, it giving the food to the other organisms also. So these organisms, they won't prepare their own food materials. They depend on other for their survival and for their existence. They are called as the heterotrophs. So here the heterotrophs are also called as the consumers. That means if you see the animal kingdoms from the protozoa to the chordates and non-chordates or mammal, the everyone are depending upon the plants for their existence. If you take a amoeba, these amoeba will depend upon other for the prey for some diatoms like plants. These diatoms are considered the plants. So these small organisms are also depending upon their mode of nutrition. If the small animals are there, depend upon the small plants. If they are big, or they depend upon the big size plants here. Here the rabbit is taking their food from the plants here. So they obtain carbon from organic compounds assembled by other organisms. That means these heterotrophs depend on the other substances for their survival and for their existence. But here the plants, without disturbing, taking the organic molecules from the environment, and it's preparing the food materials and also giving food to the other animals also. And here, this photosynthesis is considered as a metabolism process. In that metabolism, they are when we come across this anabolism and catabolism. These are the two comparison. That means anabolism means here the small molecules combines to form a big molecules. Example, a photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, this carbon dioxide and water molecules combines, these inorganic molecules combines to form a big organic molecule, that is a starch. So this is combining a smaller molecule to give a big molecule. It is called as anabolism, and photosynthesis come under this anabolism process, and it is also called as endergonic reactions. That means the food materials are stored there. And here the respiration, in this respiration, whatever the food materials are there, for example, in plants, the starch is formed. The starches break down during the respiration. In this process, the energy is released. So here the big molecule is dissociated into smaller molecules. So it is called as the catabolism. So respiration come under the catabolism. It is also the energy is released. So is exergonic reactions. And now life is sustained by inputs of energy. However, not all forms of energy can sustain life. Sun is abundant. We know the main source of light on the environment is the sun, but cannot directly power protein synthesis or energy required. So here this sunlight is taken by the plants. This energy is converted to the chemical energy. So this sunlight is converting to chemical energy. So the plants are also called as the converters. They are converting this light energy into the chemical energy in the form of starch or the sucrose. Now, here, if we see the total diagram itself, so we are clear about it, that the total plants, the leaf are considered as a preparing center of food in a plant. And here also in the mesophyll cells, they are having the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, this process is taking place. So the photosynthesis means in presence of light, it's preparing its food materials by taking the inorganic molecules like carbon dioxide, water in presence of sunlight. This process is taking place in the chloroplast, and glucose is formed, and at the same time a valuable gas, that is oxygen, is released here. So by we are saying only the simple process, but it is the complicated structure that the life process is in the plants here. And so the metabolic pathway that use light energy to turn carbon dioxide and water into carbohydrates. Here, these inorganic molecules are taken from the atmosphere and is converted to a big organic molecule that is the glucose and also release the oxygen. And these processes are taking place in the uh, leaf. Leaf the leaf is the main organ for the photosynthesis organ, and where the in which cell organelle it is taking place, it is the chloroplast. We clearly know that. So all the plants are green in color due to presence of some that photosynthetic pigments are present. So with these pigments only the plants can prepare their own food materials. And where this photosynthesis is taking place. So we are clear about that photosynthesis is taking place in a leaf. In leaf, it is when we see the transverse section of the leaf, there are upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and the number of mesophyll cells, and the mesophyll cells are again differentiated into depending upon their dicot and the monocot leaves. They are differentiated into palisade parenchyma and the spongy parenchyma. In this, the chloroplast will be there. Here in the chloroplast, this process is taking place. So photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. So in total plant cell organelles, this chloroplast is having its DNA. So they are also called as semi-autonomous cell organelles. And chloroplast is a plastic that carries out photosynthesis. And if we see the structure of a chloroplast, it is having a double membrane structure, and which is resembles the photosynthetic bacteria and evolved from. So photosynthesis in eukaryotes is similar to the bacterial photosynthesis. Now, if you see the structure of a chloroplast, here the thylakoid membrane will be there. They are highly folded into stack. These thylakoid membranes are how they are arranged, means how the books are arranged in a rack like that. These grana are arranged there, and they are interconnected with this. And this grana contains the number of photosystems. That means a number of pigments are present there. And folds in this membrane form the disc called the thylakoids. The membrane encloses a single or continuous internal space. And the stroma is a fluid substance that is present in the chloroplast. And here in the grana, the light reaction is taking place. And this is dependent reaction. That means in the presence of light only, this reaction is taking place. And this is this light reaction is taking place on the grana of the chloroplast. And light independent reaction is called the dark reaction. It is taking place in the stroma of the chloroplast. And this is the wonderful cell organelles that this plant cell and animal cells are also differentiated. That these cell organelles are present in the plant cell only. These are absent in the animal cells. So these plants having the capacity to prepare its food materials. And if you see the diagram of this, here this is a double membrane structure. This is the outer and the inner membrane. And inside there is a space known as the periplastidal space will be there. And here all the thylakoids are arranged one above the other. And a set of thylakoids are called as the grana. Total the flat membrane stacks, this set will be called as the grana, and they are interconnected by the lamella. And the fluid that is present and which contains the number of enzymes that are useful for the dark reactions are all are present in the stroma. And in the grana, the light what are the enzymes electron carriers, and the photosystems, and number of pigments are all present in the grana of the chloroplast. In the grana, light reactions taking place. In the stroma, dark reactions taking place. In a photosynthesis, it is clearly that the which cell organ is helpful for the photosynthesis is the chloroplast. In the photosynthesis, there are two reactions are there, light reaction and dark reactions. These light reactions are taking place on the grana and the dark reactions taking place in the stroma, and whatever the enzymes are there that are present in the stroma only that are related for the dark reaction. And here, if you see here, this one, how from the sun, the energy is coming, and this the total reaction. If you see that in the photosynthesis, there are two reactions are there. One is light reaction, another is the dark reaction. In the light reaction, energy is taking place and ATP is formed, and NADPS. These ATP and NADP are utilized by taking the carbon dioxide, and they are forming the sugar substance that is nothing but the starch. And this starch helpful for the plants to be survival, and it also give the food for the all the organisms that are depend upon the plant itself. Once you imagine that if a farmer put a crop in a field, but they are not producing, they are not undergoing, the plants are not undergoing any photosynthesis, there is no any physiological process, that totally there is no formation of the seeds, it will be very lost to that. That means this photosynthesis is also giving the food for the other organisms and the human being also. Just if you imagine that if the total plants are not there in the environment, so what is the condition of the human beings? It is not unimaginable. So there are two separate reactions are there. One is energy building here, and another for this energy building use the sunlight and make energy. This sunlight is taking, this is helpful for energy currency known as ATP. For example, if every person, if you want to purchase anything, we need an amount of money. Without money, it is not possible to buy anything. Like this ATP is considered as the energy currency, which is helpful in the that is formed during the light reaction, which is, and this is used in the dark reaction. This ATP and NADPH2 are also called as the assimilatory powers that are formed in the light reaction. And as a result, due to this utilizing this, the sugars are formed here by using ATP, by using CO2. Just if you see here, when the carbon dioxide and the water combines to form the glucose and oxygen, the oxygen that is evolved outside, that is coming from the water, not from the carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide utilized in the dark reaction, and that is helpful for the formation of the starch. So the formula for starch is sugars is the C6H12O6. And if you see here, the leaf is the photosynthetic organ. Photosynthetic organ in plant is the leaf. And if you see the transverse section of a leaf, it consisting of upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and they are these elongated cells are called as the palisade parenchyma, and this palisade parenchyma consisting of the chloroplast. And inside this is the chloroplast, and whatever the photosynthesis is taking, that is taking place inside the chloroplast only. This is the complicated arrangement in the plants. Just outside we will see only leaves, but this not imaginable mechanism is present in the leaves. So here carbon dioxide, it is taking and absorb sunlight, and CO2 make energy and sugars for its survival, and also give food for the total world. And here, what are essential for a photosynthesis to take place? Here, the different types of pigments are there. Depending upon the pigments, they are of three types. They are chlorophylls, carotenoids, and the xanthophylls. These chlorophyll pigments are green in color, and chlorophylls are they are consisting of inorganic substance magnesium and porphyrin compounds. Each chlorophyll molecule consisting of a magnesium and porphyrin head and a pyrrole tail. The head is formed by a central magnesium atom surrounded by 4 pyrrole rings, which are held together by the carbon and hydrogen bridges. Each pyrrole ring attached to the magnesium atom by its nitrogen atom. So we also said that when we are talking about the mineral nutrition, these micronutrients and macronutrients play a very important role in the for the synthesis of proteins. That means these pigments are very essential for this. And this molecular formula, they may also ask in the bits, what is the molecular formula for the chlorophyll A, C55H, carbon dioxide 55, and hydrogen 72, oxygen 5, nitrogen 4, and magnesium. And that of chlorophyll B is carbon 55, hydrogen 70, oxygen 6, and nitrogen 4. And now here the carotenoids. These carotenoids are they are also considered as the shield pigments, because these pigments protects the reaction centers. And these carotenoids includes both. That means that these are colorful one. They may be orange or yellow color. The orange one are called the carotenes, and the yellow ones are called the xanthophylls. And carotenes are orange yellow pigments. In tomato also, this type of pigments are seen. This is called as the lycopene. This is an important point. And beta carotenes, that are the precursors in carrot or the typical carotenes. They're often called hydrogen carotenoids as they lack oxygen atoms. And the empirical formula is carbon 40 and hydrogen 56. Now, xanthophylls. These carotenoids containing oxygen atoms are called the xanthophylls. These are yellow in color. Cryptoxanthine, lutein, zeaxanthine, violoxanthine, and neoxanthine are different xanthophylls found in the green leaves. The empirical formula for these xanthophylls is carbon 40, H56, and oxygen. And carotenoids absorb light energy and transfer into chlorophyll A molecule. Just you remember that these chlorophyll are very sensitive. So these carotenoids are these chlorophylls are surrounded by the carotenoids. So they are also called as the shield pigments. And they take the direct sunlight and it will be transferred to the reaction center. And phycobilins. They are red or blue pigments are found in rhodophyceae. This is an important bit when we are learning these algae. Different types of algae are there. In these algae, they are of different colors due to the presence of which pigments they are of different colors. Depending upon the, we can be get one bit here also. These blue color pigments and red color pigments. If the red color pigments are present, they are in the red algae like rhodophyceae, Polysiphonia, and in the blue color pigments, they are present in the Cyanophyceae members like nostoc and abinum. And phycobilins are of two types, namely phycoerythrin and phycocyanin, which are red and blue in color. And phycoerythrin is a red color pigment and found in rhodophyceae, and phycocyanin is blue color pigment found in Cyanophyceae. And here we talk about these photo pigments. What are the pigments that are present and that are helpful for the photosynthesis? Now, all these pigments or combines to form a reaction centers. In these reaction centers, there are two organs. They are called as the photosystem 1 and the photosystem 2. These are a group of pigments that are combining to form the reaction centers. They are also called as the photosystem 1 and the photosystem 2. And the photosynthetic pigments occur in the form of pigment pigment protein complexes in the thylakoid member to harvest the radiant energy of the sunlight. That means this direct sunlight, if you fall on the chlorophylls, they may be damaged, they may be solarized. So in order to protect that, these are, as a resonance, they are moving from one pigments to other pigments. Like a resonance, the light is transferring and reaching the reaction center. So in order to protect the reaction center, the chlorophyll A, these are surrounded by these group of pigments are called as the photosystems. So these pigment protein complexes are called as the pigment system or photosystem or light harvesting complexes. They are of two kinds of photosystem in plants. Namely, they are photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. And this photosystem 1 are also called a pigment system 1 and pigment system 2. And both these pigment systems found in the chloroplast of higher plants as well as the algae. That means whatever may be the unicellular or multicellular, these pigment systems are arranged in the chloroplast. And photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 in the thylakoid membrane are spatially separated by plastoquinone and cytochrome complex. These are the electron carriers are present on the grana. And photosystem 1, the abbreviation is the PS1. And this photosystem 1 is so called because it was discovered first before the discovery of photosystem 2. That means in the primitive plants, this photosystem 1 was observed in the algae plants. And PS1 was discovered by Dussel in 1961. It transfers electron from plastocyanin to pyridoxine. And it is a complex of integral membrane proteins. It is located on the thylakoid membrane of the complex. These are membranes that are present on the thylakoids of the chloroplast or the grana. PS1 consisting of a core complex 1, and it is associated with the light harvesting center 1 and a set of electron acceptors. That means here the electron acceptors are there and the reaction center will be there. They combine to form a core complex. The core complex is made up of a reaction center called P700. Here this pigment can absorb the wavelength of 700 nanometer. So this pigment is called as the P700. This is present in the PS1. And PS1 is a set of chlorophyll absorbing a maximum at a wavelength of 700 nanometer from the visible light. And they are about 230 chlorophyll molecules in each reaction center. There may be a group of chlorophyll molecules will be there in each reaction center. And what are the functions of these? The PS1 carries out a part of light reaction of the photosynthesis. That a simple, if we understand that in photosynthesis, two reactions are there, light reaction and dark reaction. In the light reaction, here the photosystems are present. These photosystem one carries out a part of the light reaction of photosynthesis, and it harvests light energy and synthesizes NADPH. It transports electron from PS2 to NADP, and it harvests a wavelength of 700 nanometer. And this PS2, this PS2 reaction center or the is a set of chlorophyll which harvests light energy to drive electron transfer for protolysis of water. This breaking of water molecule or splitting of water molecule is taking place near the PS2. So PS2 is so called because it was discovered later after the discovery of PS1. PS2 was discovered by Barbere et al. And it transfers electron to NADP through plastocyanin and PS2. And it is a redox reaction center. It is a complex just like PS1. It located on the thylakoid of the chloroplast, and it consisting of core complex like light harvesting complex and a set of electron acceptors. And this consisting the reaction center called the P680. That means it can absorb a wavelength of 680 nanometers. There are 200 to 300 chlorophylls in the reaction center. And if you see the diagrammatic representation of this is the arrangement of these pigments on the grana of the chloroplast. That means here a number of 200 to 300 chlorophyll pigments are there, and a reaction center will be there, and they are called as the accessory pigments. These accessory pigments protect the reaction center. In PS1, P700 reaction center will be there. In PS2, P680 pigment center will be there, and these are surrounded by number of accessory pigments like chlorophyll B, carotenoids, and xanthophylls. So they are also called as the shield pigments. They are protecting the reaction center from direct sunlight. So as a resonance movement, this light energy will be moving from sunlight and reaching the reaction center. Whenever the energy is taken by this reaction center, the electrons will be excited, and these electrons will be released from the reaction center. They will be moving from one electron carriers to the other electron carriers. And if you see here, clearly we can understand that in that before going to talk about this photophosphorylation, here the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 are there. In this photosystem 1 is first introduced when compared to photosystem photosystem 2 is latter. In this photosystem 2, P680, and here P700 will be there, and this is associated with the number of chlorophyll pigments are associated there. And whenever the light is fall on this, the light is moving as a resonance from one molecule to another molecule. At last it reaches the reaction center. Whenever the light reaches the reaction center, the electron will be excited and releases the electrons, and these electrons are moving from one electron carrier to another electron carriers, and these movement will be helpful for us for the formation of ATP and NADPH. So this formation of ATP and NADPH we can clearly learn from this photophosphorylation. So in next class we will study the photophosphorylation and the end product of photophosphorylation. There are two types, cyclic and non-cyclic, and the end products or the assimilatory products are ATP and NADPH. They are again utilized in the dark reaction. So in next class we will continue this photophosphorylation and the Kelvin cycle. If you from this topic, if you have any doubt, you can ask me.
Okay. Any doubts regarding of today's excellent and wonderful class, my dear friends? Any doubts? Respond. Respond. Any doubt, my dear friends?
No, sir.
No. Okay, because of Madam has clearly, elaborately explained about the entire different pigments which they are involved in photosynthesis and also light reactions and the chloroplast structure and the introduction about the photosynthesis. Madam has clearly explained today's class, my dear friends. So tomorrow, Madam is going to continue the class. Madam, thank you very much. You are sparing valuable time for our young aspirants.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you.